Right, it's January 22nd after market close. I've not looked at the charts since about an hour after market open today, so just gonna bring you through the process, finding out what happened for the day, finding trade ideas for tomorrow, getting a sense of what the sentiment is in the market, and all that jazzy stuff. So let's just start by looking at market internals from today, see what happened as far as that goes. Um, Looks like it was buy volume today versus sell volume. We did just barely break the 300 million mark, which is kind of the threshold for it wasn't neutral. It was definitely a green day. You know, that's about the threshold. Um, let's look at tick, see what happened there. I mean, we had a low of 800. I mean, tick wasn't anything substantial, low of 800. Looks like we spent most of the day between 0 and 600 and negative 4, 500 around there. ADD did downtrend all day, so that kind of says, well, while we were in positive ADD territory, the amount of stocks advancing versus declining, got worse throughout the day. All right, let's go back to the charts that matter. I don't know why it went to on demand. Hold on. Well, it probably did because I accidentally clicked it, really, but let's get out of that. Let's get to the SPY daily chart and zoom way the hell in because we are zoomed way the hell out. All right. So something I definitely like that happened with SPY today, just by looking at the daily chart, is we broke and closed right on or above this 689 level, which is an absolute key level because we have all this overhead supply above. So now officially, assuming we can create a higher low right here, this becomes a look below and fail, which is obviously bullish. And with that in mind, we can expect to reach all-time highs because that is the other end of this prior bounce range that we're breaking back into. So let's quickly flop over to the hourly chart, turn off extended hours, and get us a little more time to look at here. I guess we technically closed like 1 penny below 689. However, overall, it looks good. I definitely for tomorrow think that we need to be able to hold today's low. If we go back below today's low, I don't think that's a good sign. What I would definitely like to see, and I'll just draw it out here so that get a good idea. What I would like to see is just, something like this. And that would be my base case for what comes next. Absolutely. If we fall back down below that level, I would probably avoid all this area, wouldn't want to trade it. It would also be okay if we maybe consolidated in this area before breaking up. However, I would be looking for reasons to get long on any kind of high or low above 689, expecting all-time highs to come into play. Doesn't all have to happen tomorrow. It might take a little bit longer, but overall, that is what I would expect based off what I see on the chart at this particular moment. Let me just add this hourly level to the chart. If it will let me select the damn line adding button. I don't know why it's doing this to me. Like literally won't let me select it. It's pissing me off. Oh, God. All right. And then I didn't get it right. Oh, and then I doubled it. I'm having a hard time here. It's okay. All right. Let's just add this level, 688.15, kind of a minor level. We already got this one up here. This one is gray this out. Well, actually, let's gray this one out. All right. So we're looking for some type of higher low above 689. If we fail to do that, I mean, then we could just be creating one big lower high like this and going back into this downtrend. So something to think about. This is definitely a key level. All right, let's move on. Take a look at another chart. Let me delete this pink line down here. That was just an overnight low from I don't know when. And whenever you see orange on my charts, that just means it's either yesterday high a day or yesterday low a day. That's all. I don't always mark them, but sometimes I do when I need them as a reference point. Let's take a look at the cues. See what's going on over here. Messy, yucky, crap, junk. I've not liked the Q's chart for quite a long time, and I absolutely don't like it right now. I'm not trading it. I'm not paying that much attention to it. It just sucks until we do this or until we do this. Count me out of Q's, okay? So we got to be above 629, below 607.50. I'm moving on. IWM, let's look at Russell small caps. Much better chart. Not real thrilled with today's candle. I was not watching the Russell this morning, but it certainly looks like we opened with a gap up this morning. How do I get rid of this white line? No, I don't know. I'll just leave it there. I don't know what the hell's going on. Oh, I did it with my, okay. So on the Russell, let's go ahead and mark this gap out. Gaps are always in yellow with me. All righty. This is a previous all-time high. All right. Let's take a look at the hourly. Okay. Set an alert on this gap. At or below. Because Might want to trade a short to close that gap, you know. I might be interested in something like that. If it just kind of goes like this, you know, I might take a quick scalp on that. Um, and typically what I'd be looking for is a gap fill reversal after filling a gap, you know, something like that to continue back higher. But when I look at this chart, and a definite additional path that I would be willing to consider would be a pullback to this 267.15, the previous all-time high. That would be a perfect location for a higher low to continue this uptrend. So those are the two main paths that I would be looking to play when it comes to the Russell. I have one more level I would like to add up here, which is basically the all-time high. There is one more way for this trend to continue, of course, and it would be my least favorite way to trade it. And that, of course, would be for it to just continue above this 271.20. I probably wouldn't take that trade. Well, you know, I might if there was nothing else better available, but there probably would be something else better to trade at the moment. Pullback and continuations much better than breakout and continuation. Not just sometimes, but pretty much always, in my opinion. I like to err to the safe side whenever, however possible. We'll quickly take a peek at NVIDIA. It's probably a junk chart, but we'll look at it. Well, we do technically have a look below and fail on this previous bounce range. So path I'd be thinking is that right there. Pull back 183.15 for a higher low, continue up to the top side of this previous bounce range, 189.25. But also there's so much crap price action over here. And while I could definitely see that being the case, I could also see us grabbing a lower high off this 185.60 and then continuing back down. Absolute another possibility. I don't like playing and trading inside these junk ranges though. So if I was going to trade NVIDIA, that's how I would be looking to do it. But I'm probably not looking to trade it myself. Can then remove that old gap. We did fill it. Yeah. But yeah, that's probably how I would look at that chart. We'll continue on, Apple. I do like this Apple chart quite a bit. Like a lot, a lot, a lot. Wow. It's just giving inside day after inside day. Compressing quite a bit. I was waiting for today, this morning, I was waiting for it to break yesterday's low and catch a short on it. That never happened. So I will go ahead and kill that alert. Now, what I'm thinking, mark the bottom of today's low. And if this is like at least what I would be thinking, break under today's low, get a lower high to confirm the move, and then target 245.15. Let's look at the hourly. real quick, just in case there's something else to gain from that. Do I still want this 249.50 level? Let me look at the daily again. Maybe. Maybe not. Let's see. Probably not. Oh, what am I doing here? All right. Let's just move this up here. Okay. And delete what I drew earlier. So this is what I'd like to see. Must absolutely get a lower high below this low of day before considering that. Would I go long? Let me look at the daily one more time. I mean, it is probably overextended to the short side, and an absolute reasonable alternative path with Apple would be higher low above 250.71, come up to this area for a lower high, and then continue back down. So that's one potential path. Also, this is a potential path. And then a lower high below here. And also we could just be building out, you know, a bear pennant before it breaks down. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on Apple tomorrow. I think it's setting up for a nice trade. We don't know when it's going to go. We might have another inside day tomorrow, but time for me to set an alert. Great alert crosses below, and I also want an alert up here in case it pulls back, because I would want to catch a lower high off of that. And I need to grab my notepad because this is one I do plan on putting on my charts tomorrow, so I need to write it down. Continue on. Someone is blowing up my phone. Let's see what's going on. All right, continuing. So when it came to TSM, I actually lost a trade this morning. I didn't lose much. It wasn't bad, but we'll go back and I'll show you what I was thinking and what happened and how I lost. So I was thinking, I was looking for a higher low above this 333.50. This is right after market open. We had this kind of build out, kind of looked like a bull pennant right there, right? Yeah, absolutely it did. And as soon as it broke the highs of that pennant right there, I went ahead and I entered right here on the break of it. I put my stop under VWAP. Oh my God. I don't know why people always try to call my phone when I'm doing stuff. I don't like phones, sorry. Anyways, especially when it's people that call my phone and blow me up over and over and over constantly for no good reason. Okay, I'll shut up. Anyway, so I got in at the break of this level and put my stop under VWAP right here. You know, I need to get at least 1-to-1 before I'll even consider trimming my position. That didn't happen. I stopped out. I lost. Okay. So that was one trade I took today. Um, didn't work out. I also took a trade on AMD that was wonderful. One of my better trades of the week. Cool. So we'll probably get to that one in a little bit. So TSM, auto zoom. Let's zoom way in. So at this point, I mean, we basically more or less got an inside bar, got this, we got all these red bars on this parabolic bullish stock. It's almost deceiving. Because yeah. Anyway, so I would still consider any good firm lower high above 330.50 to target back up towards all-time highs. I think that's a fair trade still. The alternative would be any pullback to, we gotta figure out what this number is. I can't see it very well right now because I have multiple lines there. But a pullback to this level for a firm daily higher low and then continuing to the upside would be the better trade. Either one of them I'm interested in. So let me show you why this is. Look, we have this huge major bounce range below us. That is the perfect location for it to pull back and give a firm daily higher low for continuation back to new all-time highs. So count me in on any pullback to this level. We also have this gap down here. It could definitely work as we come down and test the gap and reject it, or gap fill reversal. Okay, something like that. Either way, count me in. I'm there. All about it. So let's set alerts on TSM. I already have alerts set, but let me set another one on this other level right here. And considering it went above today and failed, absolutely must see a clean higher low above, not just a break above. Okay. So let me put TSM back on my list. Okay. Now let's look at AMD. Move that. So did AMD make new all-time highs? Not yet, but it does look like that's where it's headed. Remove 71. This is a nice candle we got today. So I'll show you the trade I took today. Where is it? Trying to figure out, where did I? So confused. Is this the beginning of today? Ah. All right, here's the beginning of today. It had to be up here, wasn't it? Oh my God, I can't remember. I posted it this morning. So let me pull up Chrome, look on X, and see exactly where I entered, because now looking at it, I don't remember. I apologize for the delay. Let's see here. All right, AMD 247.20 was where, I swear. Oh, so I didn't take it till a little later on. It wasn't right after open. That's why I'm a little confused. All right, so I was looking for a higher low above 247.20 today. So as you can see very clearly, I got exactly that with this hammer bar right there, right here, right here, right here. Okay, that is what I'm always looking for when I get a break and pullback of a level, is a nice bar like that. And where I enter is at the break of the top of that candle. So I entered right here, popped up immediately, started pulling back. I was in the red for a little bit. Nothing, no big deal. Still holding my level. My stop is way down here. Um, and this is ultimately my target. But what I do is I sell some positions here, sell some here, and then cut the finals here. Okay. So it's a great trade. Worked wonderful for me today. And kept the account very green. No doubt about it. Uh, so let me erase all that. And let's see if there is any kind of setup going forward. And I would suspect that there probably is. Uh, do we still need this level? Where is that coming from? It's coming from right here. I think it still looks pretty somewhat important. All right, let's look at the hourly. Yeah, this level's perfect. So ultimately, I would like to mark today's high of day. Orange. Um, so I think AMD is headed for all-time highs. It definitely looks that way to me when I look at it. Obviously, there's many ways to get there, not just one way. The most direct way would be this. I swear to God, if people don't stop texting my phone for no reason. Sorry. It's aggravating. Um, pull back to here would be absolutely fine. Continue. Uh, let's look at other possible paths. I need to look at the daily again. I do like that we had this hammer candle. Um, if we were to pull back and give like a firm daily higher low, I mean, I feel like that's a long ways down there. And with today's hammer candle, like technically we came up, pull back, continue. Um, I mean, God, we're kind of moving up in a parabolic way. And whenever it gets like this, I become a little hesitant to just trade the immediate breakout, because if it is going to pull back, it's probably going to pull back hard. I'm going to pause my video for a moment because my phone's driving me crazy. Okay, I apologize. Phone notifications really drive me crazy. I don't know why, but I cannot stand them. Um, like they make me angry for some reason. Like, God, can't stand them. Anyways, um, so pullback could happen and then we continued higher. Um, I I don't think it's unreasonable considering that we have a gap here, and just these huge green bars, and we're moving massively to the upside. I don't find it unreasonable to think that we don't just continue something like this, you know? So I'm definitely watching AMD closely and looking at how I can get involved at key levels. Um, so if the market's got strong momentum and AMD's acting like it's got strong momentum, I'll probably take a higher low over the high a day. I'll probably take a move up, pull back and hold, continue, um, and just target the next level up, which is 261. And sure that's valid. I think it is valid. I mean, we're just a stone's throw away from all-time highs on this thing. And, you know, considering we came down from here, have this like triple bottom down here, um, we're probably going above all-time highs here before too much longer. So, you know, AMD's the new Nvidia, I guess, or MU really is, but AMD's, you know, where the momentum's at as well. Anyways, well, and that is, of course, that we don't have any kind of crazy news coming out of the White House that makes the charts go like this. Because, you know, that's kind of stuff that we see these days. Uh, anyways, I think that I will put AMD on my list. Uh, I will consider Apple and TSM to be more high priority trades at this moment. Don't think I want to set any alerts on this thing. And I'm gonna make this gray because I no longer am looking for a higher low above it. Already happened for this. Um, you know, Intel had earnings today. Let's see. Let's see what happened. Well, it looks really, really bullish prior to earnings. We're gonna have to turn on extended hours. Well, well, well. Let's mark the slowdown here. Let's see what's going on. Big, giant sell-off. Oof, that hurts. Way down there, huh? Way down there. Um, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Hmm. Let me flip the hourly chart, see if I'm missing any major levels, turn off extended hours. There is a level right there. Okay. Well, gonna have to play gap rules on this one. So we don't know where it's gonna open up. It could continue down further. It could move up some. We're pretty far down there already. But depending on where it opens up, what we would be looking for if we were looking for a gap fill would be it to come down, test the overnight low, but then fail to continue below the overnight low, and then price to get back above the opening print, which would be right here, right? get a higher low above. And then we need risk reward to make sense to a gap close. Considering that this is so far, such a huge gap, being way up here is where the technical gap is, too, we would probably be only looking for a partial gap fill, probably to $50 even. That's the reasonable spot for the gap to kind of stall out, being the opening print right here to the top of this little area right here. That's where I would expect the partial gap close to kind of end, right? In that area would be my number one suspect area. So we could be looking for that for a long trade, or alternatively, if market's selling off, things aren't looking good, let's say we open here, then we're looking for a lower high below the overnight low to go short. Now, I would be nervous to do that, A, because we already have this big giant sell-off from earnings, and we got this little bit of support right here that could stop it out, but probably wouldn't hold. But I would definitely not want to short below 43.70 because this is a major daily area. We'll see that when I go back to the daily chart. And not only that, we have the 20 SMA right here. And 20 SMA, 50 SMA, those things matter to institutions, and they got algorithms and stuff that buy when those are hit. So we have a double whammy right here. So any pullbacks to this 43.7 could very well end up acting as a daily higher low area to continue the uptrend, despite what you may think because earnings had a sell-off. The uptrend could still continue. And despite earnings, we want to continue to follow the trend until we're proven otherwise. So therefore, if we pull back to this level and we get a nice little hammer candle, and let's say SPY, QQQ, AMD, all those things are also moving to the upside, and the market's green, and tick is having a high reading, and ADD is having a high reading, and we also have this hammer candle right at support on 43.70, which is the perfect area for a higher low on the daily chart. Then I probably want to go ahead and attempt to get long on the break of that hammer candle with my stop right here and see if I can't catch some kind of move to the upside, trim my position as it continues to move up. You know, I think that's a great idea if that's what happens. So therefore, what I want to do is I want to set an alert right here at or below, because I think that this location right here is the ideal higher low location. Let me make sure I show that so I know what I'm looking at when my alert goes off. I'm going to delete this overnight low because I do not know where this thing's going to end up in the morning. So that's the way I'm going to be looking to trade Intel tomorrow. I am not going to be jumping into any trades with Intel right when market opens because IV is still really high from earnings. I want that to go down before I attempt options trades. So Intel is making my list tomorrow. And just for fun and games, I see another setup here that could have happened. And this is called a 3-bar play, right? We have this big giant green candle here, then we got this second green candle here. And in theory, it should have never broke the high, but it's still okay. That held to the upper half. So um, that's also another play I really like. And what you would be looking for would be a break of that level there and then a higher low above. Obviously, that can no longer happen since earnings sold off and we broke below the low from today. But that would have been a setup otherwise. Just, something to look at. So I'm going to mark Intel on my paper, and it's going to be one of the primary trade ideas. I do about 8 to 10 primary trade ideas. I find 8 to 10 ideas per night, and then I'm watching all those charts in the morning, and I review them again in the morning, depending on what happened in any price action overnight. I'm watching them all, and then I'm going with the ones and any new trade ideas I find in the morning. And I'm going with the ones that give me the cleanest setup in the morning. And I got to say, this works really well for me. So I'm marking Intel gap rules on my notes. Okay. And next, let's take a peek at Meta, see what's going on there. Whew. So Meta had an upgrade this morning. I did not trade it this morning because it just wasn't on my list. Looking at it, I'm like, damn, I should have. It had the perfect catalyst this morning, and I can see something setting up on this real nice right now. Real nice. Let's mark the gap though. And we will get into that in a second. The gap that's probably never gonna fill. All right. Meta's been selling off for a long time. Let's take a look at something going on right now. What happened today? Something significant happened on this chart today. For one, we blew right through the 50 SMA. We blew right through the 20 SMA in one trading day. That's not a sign. I don't know what is. So as of right now, the market cares about this upgrade. Let's go back and think about this gap right here. Do you remember what this gap was? I can tell you what it was. Well, let's go back to this gap. Okay. If you've been following along on Meta, why did it gap down right here? Well, this was earnings. And the reason it gapped down originally was because investors are sick of Meta's ridiculous spending on data centers, CapEx data center spending, okay? So because of that, we have this big major gap down, and we gap down through the 20, the 50, and the 200 SMA. And then it continued to sell down. Then you come over to this gap right here, and what this gap was, Meta announcing that they're getting rid of the metaverse, something that investors of Meta have hated for quite some time. They think it's a ridiculous waste of money. And so what we got this morning was a major upgrade on Meta. So I think what's happening is we've got this, the reduce in spending. Now we have the upgrade, and let's zoom out and make a theory about what's going on right here. Well, my theory is, and it's not confirmed yet, so nothing is confirmed till it's confirmed, but we got this low and this low. That, to me, is absolutely a double bottom. So what do we need to see to confirm this double bottom? Well, we need a higher low into this gap. And if we can get that, then count me in. Count me into the swing long side because things are looking up. So that's what it looks like could be happening right now. However, as I continue to look at the chart, there are still some definitive threats present in it. We have all this overhead supply above 653 right now. And we poked into it, but we did not close inside of it. So we still have the threat of this becoming a lower high right here, coming back down, closing this gap. So we need to absolutely keep that threat at the top of our minds. But if it can continue, let me flip to the hourly chart and make sure I'm not missing any levels. I mean, we really closed right above this 20 SMA. So I'd like to see us be able to hold this level. We need to hold the 20 and the 50, okay? Otherwise, if we can't hold those, I'm concerned. I wonder if this is a fake wick now. Oh no. Because look, it happened at the very end of the day. Now I got to pull up Trading View because Thinkorswim does fake wicks and make sure that this actually happened. We have to make sure that it actually freaking happened. Guess what? It is fake, fake, fake. Oh no. Oh, this is why you got to be careful with Thinkorswim. They lie sometimes. They give this. Wait, wait, wait. It is here. It is on my daily chart. The big wick. So here's what I don't get though. When I see the 5-minute chart on TradingView, it looks different. But the daily chart looks the same. Okay, 648.22. Now what is going on? All right. The high of today, 660.66 on the daily chart. Let me go to a 15 on TradingView. What the fuck? Okay. The high on a 15-minute chart on TradingView is 648.25. But the high on a daily chart on TradingView is 660. So now I don't know what to think. I have to pause the video and do some investigating. I'll be back. Okay, so after investigating, I kind of still don't know what to think because the uh the high of the day was 660.56. But if you look in Thinkorswim, this big wick at the top happened on the very last minute at 3:59 p.m. And if you look in TradingView at 3:59 p.m., it didn't happen and it never happened, yet the daily chart still shows that wick. So I am going to count it as a false wick and mark the high of day is 648.20 because that's what I'm basically seeing on TradingView when I look at a smaller chart. And if it really did happen, it really only happened in that last 1 minute, and that's such a massive move. It's like some type of data error. So I'm not giving any kind of credence to that wick. So what I would be looking for tomorrow to hopefully continue this uptrend and get it out of this funk, a pullback to 637.50 that holds for a higher low would be good. Higher low over today's high of 648.20. Then I would want to see, is it going to stall out at 653 or would it be able to break it? So I'd also be looking for higher lows above 653 to target 660.75. And generally, when we have a breakout day like this, there is generally a day two that goes along with it. So I like to play day twos of breakouts. Definitely always looking for that when it comes to these big mega stock names. And then obviously the trade I am super interested in when it comes to Meta is when and if we get into this earnings gap and tear that apart. But I definitely see the potential that we're building out a double bottom on Meta. So I am keen to the fact that we have this prior junk to trade through still, and that there could be some problems with just trying to trade a breakout over here. But I'm willing to give it a stab just due to the catalyst, due to the nice movement of today, due to the idea of a day two continuation, due to it broke through the 20 and the 50. When and if it does hit this 200 SMA, I am probably not going to be in a trade and maybe a small swing. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I'm definitely giving Meta much more closer eye tomorrow than I have been recently with Meta because hasn't been a good trader in quite a while. But we're officially back in this balance range. So this would be my favorite idea, would be a pullback to 637.50. I would absolutely jump on that if we got a good candle set up right there. And also if the broad market's moving up, we got good up volume versus down volume generally in the market, ticks high, ADDs high, all that stuff. Always factors I'm looking for in a trade. Okay, we are now looking at the Microsoft daily chart. We have essentially an inside bar on the daily chart. We are in a downtrend, kind of a parabolic downtrend. Got back above this previous level right here and closed above it. So, two ways I could see this playing out. One, break over this inside bar, higher low, come up to this 456.60. This would be a great location for a lower high to continue back down. Target like that. Alternatively, inside bar break to the downside. Lower high, target the lows. And then any lower high below this targets the top of this gap. any lower high into the gap. We'll start looking at gap fills, partial gap fills. So let me just mark some levels here. If I can erase everything. Mark these levels. So if it'll let me select the damn thing. All right, so right there. So we're looking for, oh no. Let's go to the hourly. Okay. A little clearer there. Look, we could be setting up an inverted head and shoulders too. Um, so we already got an alert set here. We're gonna go ideal, lower, high, put that to the right. Also, this is a neckline for a potential inverted head and shoulders. So I need to mark that on the chart as well, just in case this happens right here. Just in case this happens, confirms that inverted head and shoulders, potential reversal to the long side, right? Gotta always be watching out for that. But the base case is pull up here for a lower high and target the bottom. So there's that. I gotta go back to the daily chart because I can't remember the other path I was thinking of anymore. But let me write Microsoft on my list. Microsoft 476, 60 lower high, short, or long above inverted head and shoulders. And then back to the daily so I can remember what the hell else I was thinking. Inside bar. Mark today's low a day. Yesterday low a day. Show it on right. Alert. At or below. So also let's scalp short lower high to target 438.70 or more. But overall, still in a downtrend. And even if we did move up here, you know, that's not like a huge daily candle, inverted head and shoulders. It's only an hourly chart. So it may not set up a massive reversal. And then we got to remember we got all this overhead supply right here above 470.90. And I should probably mark this area as overhead supply. Okay, so Microsoft. Do I want to keep looking? Let's take a look at hood real quick. Ooh, lots of inside bars on hood. Kind of a bearish candle breakdown. This one's super easy. So we do have the 200 we got to watch out for on any trades. So any lower high below these 3 days for a quick scalp to target the 200 SMA. I'll write that down. Hood, lower high, below, yesterday low day, target 200 SMA short. Okay. Um, Moving on. Let's do a quick little scan real quick. And look at active on social, daily report, see if there's any stocks. Well, let's take a look at MU. MU is still moving straight up in the upward direction. Nothing else to say about that. Reddit. Ooh, I do see something on this list I definitely want to look at. Uh, so Reddit, it does have a bullish 3-bar play. However, it's got support right below at 208.95, and I would never short into that thing because it's quite a bit of support. I don't want to mess with it. I definitely want to look at Netflix. Let's see what is going on over here. All right. So this golden chart. Okay. 8280 on Netflix is a major, major level coming from right here and coming from right here. And if you continue to look over at the left side of this chart, you will see that there is all this thin structure over here, and there's even a gap right here that I'm not exactly sure why I don't have it marked. But it needs to be marked. So, yeah, mark it, and you go back to the right, and yeah, so it's got all this thin structure. So if, let me go to the hourly chart so we can really see what I'm talking about here, and then go back like this because I don't know how long I've had my chart open on the widescreen, but I do know that when I do that, it is harder for people to see on videos, so my bad. So hopefully you can see a little better now if you're still watching. But what I'm looking for when it comes to Netflix is any breakdown and absolute clear lower high below this 8280, because we got massive thin structure to the downside. So if that can end up playing out, and I probably want to move that level down, maybe. I don't know. I do, kind of. I want to move it to below the opening print from the other day. At or below. That's really where I want it at this point. Even though it's technically at 82.80, I want to put it below this opening print, 82.50, 30-cent difference. Let me remove that low a day. So yeah, any lower highs below 82.80, that's the earnings low. Let me just gray it out, leave it as a reference point. But feel like if that can happen, it could end up being a big, massive trade. And you know what? If that doesn't happen and we end up holding here, that's fine too, because we have a little gap that we can close to the upside. So either way, Netflix is a very important trade on my list that I want to pay attention to. So short in structure below or gap above. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trade ideas if we include AMD. Let me see if there's anything else I want to look at. HIMS, let's take a look. Daily. Man, no, we got support. Nope, I'm good on that. UIQ, W Western Digital, no. Microsoft SanDisk, no. Personal bull bar play, no, there is some Oracle. Ooh. Ew, I don't know what to think here. I haven't updated this chart in a minute. That gap's been filled. Filled. Zoom in. Wait, let me look at the left real quick. Okay. 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 All right. Let's zoom into this. If it'll let me select that. All right. Huh. Huh, huh, huh. Uh, mm, just kind of deciding what I think here. I think that's solid. Um, hmm. I mean, technically, this is the perfect spot for a lower high, right? So, inside bar breakdown. That's what I'm interested in, and only that. Create alert. At or below. Mark the previous opening print and previous lower day. All right, so I'm only interested in a lower high below 176.40 or short. That's it. Oracle inside bar breakdown short. Um, if it gets above this, I mean, it's probably going to be a nice trade to the upside. But it's in a downtrend, and I don't really want to take calls in a downtrend, even though it could definitely be setting up for probably somewhat of a parabolic move to the upside. Because this would be the perfect location for a lower high to continue down short then. So, I mean, that's definitely a possibility. Just don't know that that's, I always want to trade with trend personally and just use extreme caution. Um, and trading long, even though I'm just not feeling it. Essentially, I guess. I'm not too sure about that. So whatever. It's a possibility, but I'm not feeling it, so I ain't gonna do it. Ideal lower high. And I guess that is all I got today. If you're new, if you're not subscribed, please like, please subscribe, please do all that stuff. If you're not journaling your trades, check out strategyforgejournal.com. Use code strategy for 6 weeks free. Have a good one.